Anthony Yarde against Lyndon Arthur. Fight happening on December 4th. Not too far away. And so pretty much in this video, I'm just going to give my keys to victory and my prediction on who I think is going to win the fight. So starting off with Yarde, the keys to victory for him. For him, I think what he's got to do, the reason why he lost the first fight, I don't think it's down to talent or skill or ability. Because I actually think Yarde is more talented and has better overall ability than Lyndon Arthur. Lyndon Arthur may have a better jab, but I think that's pretty much about it, really. Lyndon Arthur may have a better jab, but that's about it. I think overall Yarde's the better fighter, but I think he fought the wrong strategy in the fight. He fought the completely wrong strategy, and from a strategic point of view, he just had the wrong game plan. He tried to kind of play Lyndon Arthur at his own game, tried to beat Arthur at his own game, rather than implementing his own game and his own strengths into the fight. Because you saw in the later rounds when Yarde started to turn up the temperature. Yeah, when Yarde started to turn up the temperature, when he started to go through the gears, like it was very, very difficult for Arthur to deal with it. Like, he got hurt at certain points in that last round as well. Yarde was landing big shots. Like, he wasn't too far away from stopping Arthur. So I'm not convinced of Arthur's defense. And I think when Yarde turns up the heat, when Yarde turns up the temperature, I think it's going to be very difficult for Arthur to deal with. So in terms of Yarde's keys to victory, I think that's what he needs to do. I think he needs to, what he did in the last couple rounds of the first fight, he needs to do that at least 4 or 5 rounds earlier. So Yarde really needs to work on his stamina, because I think the reason why he fought such a conservative fight, a defensive fight in the first fight, because he was worried about gassing out like he did in his fight before the Arthur fight against Sergey Kovalev. He gassed out in that fight because he let his hands go a lot. He pretty much emptied the tank in the 8th round of that fight. He almost stopped Kovalev, but he didn't. And so in the later rounds after that, he was gassed out, he was tired. So I think Yarde had that in the back of his mind. That was playing in the back of his mind, really. And I think he had because that was in his subconscious, he didn't really wanna gas out in this fight against Lyndon Arthur. So he was worried about that. And that's pretty much the main reason why he fought such a defensive fight. It might have been part of the game plan, but I think it's more so the fact that he didn't want to gas out, really. So Yarde really needs to work on his stamina in this fight. Perhaps have hard sparring, because Yarde has said before he doesn't really do too much hard sparring, and maybe that plays a part into why he has certain stamina issues. Maybe that does play a part. He did empty the tank in that 8th round for one, but maybe he needs to change things up a little bit in this camp. Maybe implement a bit more hard sparring, not too much hard sparring, of course, because that can lead to you taking more shots and things like that. But maybe just have a little bit more hard sparring, or just do certain things a little bit differently in camp to ensure that your stamina is up to par for this fight, so that you can let his hands go a little bit more early on. So that's what I think Yarde needs to do: work on his stamina. And yeah, I think that's what I think Yarde needs to do: work on his stamina so that he can let his hands go more and have a higher work rate earlier on in the fight. I think Yarde as well needs to go down to the body as well, and use his combination punching ability, which he does have. When Yarde lets his hands go, he's actually a good combination puncher. He switches it up from body to head really well. He's got very good punch technique, particularly for someone who started boxing quite late. Yarde's punch technique is pretty good. He's got good hand speed, good athleticism, and if he lets his hands go and if he switches it from body to head, which he's capable of doing, I think he could land some good shots and win some rounds earlier on. So I think that's what Yarde needs to do as well. Use his combination punching variety and have a high work rate from early on in the fight. I think if he does those two main things, I think he's got a very, very good chance of winning. In terms of Arthur now, he needs to pretty much do what he did in the first fight. Like, be the ring general, fight your fight the fight that you want to fight, and use his jab. Like, Lyndon Arthur's got longer arms than Yarde. He's got longer arms than him, so he needs to utilize that reach, utilize that jab, and use lateral movement. Yeah, uses lateral movement, and yeah, pretty much just stick out that jab, utilize it, do pretty much what he did in the first fight, which was control the range, use the jab really well, double up on the jab, and utilize the good timing that he does have, because Arthur does have good timing on his jab. He does double up on it really well. He's got a sharp, crisp jab, and he needs to use that in the fight. But I think what he needs to do more in this fight as well is use more right hands, because I think the jab alone is not going to be. It may not work as well as it did in the first fight, because Yard's going to be used to it. So I think that he needs to utilize the right hand as well, because when he did throw the right hand, he did land it a couple times. Yes, it did get countered a couple times as well, but he did also land it a couple times. So I think he has got a decent right hand as well, a good straight right hand. So he needs to utilize that as well in the fight, as well as use his lateral movement and use the quality jab that he's got, but he's got good timing on that. So I think those are the main keys to victory for Arthur, really. Lateral movement, the jab, the right hand, knowing when to throw it as well, and making sure that he's the ring general. Try and fight the fight that you want to fight. Try and frustrate Yard with his movement. Because I think movement is gonna be quite difficult for Yard to deal with. Because I don't think Yard really is an amazing pressure fighter. I don't think he's terrible at cutting off the ring, but I don't think he's amazing at it. So I think if Arthur tries to make Yard, kind of have to force the fight by moving around the ring, using lateral movement, utilizing the jab, so on and so forth, so on and so forth. If he does that, then it could be a difficult fight for Yard. But in terms of my prediction now, I think that Yard's going to win this fight. I think Yard's got this one. I think he's the better fighter. I think he's the more talented. I think he's got the better offense and defense overall. So I think he just needs to let his hands go from early on, and don't let it become too much of a chess match. That's what he did too much. He let it become too much of a chess match. For Arthur to win, he needs it to be a chess match. But for Yard to win, he needs to pretty much disrupt that. He needs to disrupt that and negate that and stop it from being a chess match by letting his hands go early on, have a higher work rate, and establish some kind of authority from early on in the fight. So I think if Yard does that, I think he'll win the fight. And I think Yard will do that. Yard knows that when he put it on Arthur, when he turned up that heat, that it was very difficult for Arthur to deal with. And I think he'll do that early on in this fight, really. So I see Yard winning the fight. I think he's the more talented. I think he knows what to do now as well, having that experience from the first fight. Whereas Arthur, I don't see there being too much different that he can do, really. Like, even if I think if Arthur tries to let his hands go and tries to have a fight with Yard rather than a boxing match, I think Yard's the better counter puncher. He's a better punch picker. He might land some good shots, but I think Yard will probably knock him out doing that. He's the more powerful puncher as well. He's the bigger puncher. Yeah, I think if Arthur tries to fight Yard in a dogfight, I see Yard picking him apart and knocking him out. But if Arthur tries to fight a chess match, he's got a higher chance of winning. But like I said in this video, Yard would have adjusted. Like, Yard knows now that when he turns up the heat, that Arthur can't deal with it. So even in the chess match, I see Yard throwing a lot of combinations, switching from body to head with a lot of power in those punches, and I see him knocking Arthur out either way, really. So my prediction for this fight is Anthony Yard knockout, either a KO or a stoppage, but I don't see it going a distance. I mean, it could, but I personally think that Yard's going to knock out Arthur. That's my prediction. So, yeah, guys, leave your comments in the comment section below on your predictions for the fight, how you think the fight is going to play out, and anything else regarding what I've said in the video. But if you've liked this video, give it a like. And if you want to see more content, just boxing content, reviews, breakdowns, analysis of fighters, of different fights that are coming up, if you want to see more of that, and if you want to see more of it, and a lot of my videos are going to be in an animation style. So seeing a lot of photo animations and things like that. If you want to see more boxing content, in that kind of style, because that's the style that I'm going to be doing in pretty much the majority of my videos. If you want to see more of that, yeah, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell notification as well. But yeah, that concludes this video, and until next time.